Josh from barnfinds.com here, out with our Porsche 914. We're going to be doing more videos on this car. We bought it a while back and have been slowly bringing it back to life. When we found the car, it didn't run. It was looking a little rough, but we've got it up and running again. We'll be doing more videos talking about that here soon. But something that, now that we have it running and driving, has really been irritating us is that we quickly discovered this back window is come loose and it's rattling. We don't want it to get damaged or scratched. We don't want water coming in, and obviously the rattling is super annoying. So today I'm going to show you guys how to fix that glass, reattach it properly, and then we're going to be installing ribbon sealer that we just picked up at the local parts store here in town. You can order different types of sealer, but this is the same as what you would order. It's a rubber adhesive with a foam core. So what we'll have to do is pull this glass out all the way, clean it all up, and then install that new seal, put the glass back in, and button everything back up. Now to do that though, to get that glass out, we got to remove this trim here. We got to remove these inside pieces here, and then we got to remove this back pad here. To do that, it's fairly simple. So you go ahead and slide the seats up as far as they'll go. I went ahead and already pulled out our interior light. A previous owner obviously could not figure out how to remove it properly, and they broke it and just stuck it back in there. So we're gonna have to replace that lens. Removing it's actually quite simple. There's a little tab here, push it, pull it out. It releases from the inside there once you push that tab in. But it holds together well enough that we'll just leave it for right now. But to get this pad out, and that's your first job, is to get this out, you want to remove your engine cover release cable. That just threads on. Move that out of the way. You then got this rubber boot. Get rid of that for right now, and then this guy will come out just far enough to pop forward like that. You also have 4 screws along the bottom, 2 on each side behind the seats. You'll need a short screwdriver, short Phillips, to get those loose. I actually used my my multi-tool, and it was short enough to easily fit in there and take all 4 of those screws out. With those out, then you want to release your pad, and to do that you just have to slide it up, and there are prongs up here at the top that will hold it in. For some reason that side was screwed on. I went ahead and loosened that screw. This is kind of a difficult task to do one-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording here, the video, and I'll get that pulled out, and then I'll show you how to remove this trim and this trim as carefully as possible without breaking anything. Also, you might notice here our top is off the car. I did that partially for the video, but mostly because it just makes the task a whole lot easier. And I have ours stashed in the trunk where it belongs, so it's safe and out of the way for right now. And I would highly recommend removing it and getting it out of the way. But yeah, I'll be back here in a moment. All right, so our pad is off. Just had to push it down, get it to pop loose from these hooks. I went ahead after I did that, and took out the screws that are in this pad here. Now you'll note that you have these little plugs go in each of the holes to fill them in. They go missing over the years, whatnot. Be careful when you pull these out. I lost 2 down behind the pad. Not a big deal. I'll go ahead and just pull the pad out and grab them, but something to be mindful of. Also, when you're taking these screws out, you kind of have to dig around for them a little bit. Just make sure that you don't damage the foam opening too much. But then the screws just loosen back out. You don't even need to take them all the way out. Just back them out enough to let them loose here. I already got that pillar over there taken apart, so I'm going to show you how to do this side. So the easy thing, well, to start here is, and the easy way to do it here, just carefully slide this guy up, get that out of the way, and then you need to take this bolt off for your seat belt. It's mainly what holds it on. But we do have a little screw hole that's hidden down here below it, and it's got a plug that has to come out. Just carefully using your fingernails, ease that guy out ever so gently. See if I can do it here. One-handed. Once you get them out, usually you can use your fingertips rather than your nails to get them the rest of the way out. So that's out of the way, and we'll go ahead and set that up out of the way somewhere safe here. Then we need to go ahead and take that bolt off. Now I went ahead and used on the other side my torque wrench so I could see about how much torque it takes to get these tightened down. And it looks like it's about 25 pounds is what they were set at factory. Maybe this side's more than that. But yeah, I'll go ahead and take that bolt out. When you get it out, make sure that you're careful not to lose these washers that are in there. And then you take that screw out, and then this whole piece actually just slides right off. You want to bring it forward because there's a lip that it wraps around here on this edge. So you want to just carefully pull the back out a little bit and then just slide it forward, and then you can get it out of the way. Now if you don't lose those little tabs like I did, the little plugs, you can actually just tip this whole thing forward and kind of wedge it against the seat backs, and it will stay up and out of the way. But let me go ahead and get this piece removed, and then I'll go ahead and take this off, which isn't terribly difficult. There's a little bit of a trick to it. You've got to open this up part way so you can clear this plastic cover that's right here. And once you have it clear, you can actually just kind of wiggle it off and slide the whole mechanism or the whole piece out of the way. But yeah, sometimes it'll catch. You might be able to get it. Like this one is going to actually maybe just slide past it. We'll see here, but you need to keep that out of the way of the hook though, so it doesn't catch on it. Again, much easier to do when you have both hands free. But yeah, once you get it out far enough, you can actually have it just stay there. Yeah, let me go ahead and get this unbolted, and then I will show you removing that piece in more detail. I got that seat belt unbolted. I also got that screw out right here. While I had it apart, I went ahead and took out my back pad. Make sure when you do that, that you go ahead and disconnect your interior light so you don't break it or damage your pad. Those just slip on, just spade connectors. And there's one last thing we have to do to get this thing apart, and that's remove our coat hanger. That rubber boot just slips on, clips onto this base. Just one screw. Someone had tried to take this off before in the past on this car and didn't do a very good job. So our pad's a little scraped up, but you don't see it once the cover's on anyways, thankfully. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Then that guy will come right loose. There you go. And it's out. So with that out, we can go ahead and work on getting this guy out. You can see now that it's all loose. It'll wiggle easily. But what we need to do, there's a little trick to this. Get that out of the way, and then just wiggle it forward. Get that side clear. Okay, and that just falls right off. Now it's stuck behind the seat. All right, well, I'll wiggle that out, and then we'll be ready to take this piece of glass out. And you can see it's pretty loose. Yep, it's completely loose. So we'll pull it out, and then we'll have to clean up these edges down here and at the top where the old adhesive is at, and then we can go ahead and get it put back in. But I'm gonna go ahead and get that pad out of here and this piece of glass pulled out. Be careful when you pull it out, you don't want to break it. Also, try to make note of any logos or symbols in the corners, because that'll tell you your orientation for when you put it back in. But we'll get to that once we go to put this piece of glass back in. I got that glass out. It didn't take a whole lot of coaxing to do. It was stuck a little bit still at the bottom. And the get it out, you could use like a piece of piano wire or guitar string or a really, really thin piece of wire. But what I actually used is this. It's a little cheap paintbrush. They come in packages of like 25 for like $2 or $3. You can get them at just about any discount store. All I had to do was slide it in on my back edge, until I got down to that seal, and then just twisted it, and my glass popped right out. And then I also was able to use it to break this old gasket loose. Once I got in underneath it, it just started coming off. And you can see here, it just will peel right off. It's so dry and brittle, and it doesn't have any adhesive left to it. So I'll just go along and peel that off all the way around the window. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. You got to go ahead and get that all removed and cleaned up. I'll go ahead and clean this ledge here just so we don't have dust and dirt that's gotten in through the back window. I'm also going to go ahead and work on this paint a little bit, because right now you can see nice and easy access. So I'll go ahead and buff that and ceramic coat it so it stays nice and shiny and clean. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get this gasket pulled off, and I'll get all that other stuff done, and then I'll go ahead and show you how to put the new seal in, and then how to place your glass in. And then of course putting it all back together is just the reverse of how we took it apart. But yeah, let's go ahead and go to that part. All right, so I got my deck lid all polished up. It looks completely different. You can't really tell in the video, I'm sure, because everything looks bright and glossy in the video, but it is a lot shinier and much better looking than it was before. I was also able even to clean up my insides of my pillars a little bit, but I can work on that more. I'm going to clean out that edge better and stuff, but I want to go ahead and show you putting the gasket in, or the seal in. So I just started up here in the driver's side corner, making sure I got that tucked up in there nice. And then there's a bit of a groove in this channel. It's got a bit of a channel that goes the whole perimeter. So you just want to make sure that you get that seal up in there. And you can push it in a little bit. Don't go too crazy, because you want enough stuck out there that when you put your glass in, it has something to push against, and then you're going to go ahead and push it in, and that'll flatten it out. But so you just go around the whole perimeter, and you want to make sure that you don't have any seams along the bottom edge or in these corners. You want to make sure that it's a solid piece, the whole bottom half, because that's where your water's gonna be able to get in if it gets enough water back there. But yeah, so just go ahead and work your way around, putting that gasket, making sure you get it up as tight to that corner as you can, without going onto the flat side, and just work your way around. You want to leave that paper on until you get it all in and you get it all lined up properly, and then you go ahead and pull that paper out. But so I'll go ahead and finish running this gasket real quick, and then we'll go ahead and put the little blocks that go in right here, and go ahead and place our glass in. All right, I got my gasket all in there, or my seal. Up here in the top corner, when I cut it, I made sure to go just a hair longer and then cut it and kind of mushed it together. Because this stuff is sticky, it actually stuck together, and that should create a good seal for us, so that we don't have water getting in there. And then I went ahead and prepped my glass by cleaning it. First I used my adhesive remover, my Gooby Gone, or whatever it's called, to get the old adhesive off. And then I used an ammonia-based glass cleaner to just go over the edges real quickly, just slightly, to just make sure that I got all the residue off from the adhesive remover, and to degrease it. That way we get a good seal on that glass edge. Also, when I noted to look for the branding on the glass, some type of indicator. This glass appears to be original to the car, and it's still got the Volkswagen logo, and it happens to be on this car up in the passenger side corner, up in the top corner of the glass. So when we go ahead to reinsert it, we want to make sure that we get this logo on the top right corner. Obviously it'd be pretty hard to do it upside down, but you could do it backwards with that on the other side. But this would be on the inside, that's on the outside facing out. But yeah, I'll go ahead and stick that up in there, and then kind of show you how it sits once it's all together. there it is, the almost finished product. I've still got a little bit of work left to do. I just got to clean up our back pad and reinstall that. But the glass itself is in. It was pretty simple to do. Make sure that you get these little rubber blocks pulled out far enough that the glass sits on it. I think you can see that one a little bit better over there. This guy right there. Make sure that that's out far enough that your glass is going to sit on it. It was a little tricky to get it in there with just how how these pillars are. But what you do is come down low where that glass is narrower on the tops. Start sliding it up and just kind of tuck it up in there. And there's actually, you'll see when you're looking at it, there are actually indents or grooves inside the pillar and around the top. So you have a little extra room to play. Slide it up in there and then just press it against that gasket, and then just start working your way around with even, firm pressure, getting it nice and adhered to that, and you'll see it kind of smush out, and that's what you want. Obviously you want to do this on a relatively warm day or indoors. Makes it a lot easier to press that adhesive on. But yeah, I went ahead and reinstalled some of my interior trim once I got the glass in, just so there was something pressing on it to keep that glass in and tight at the top. Obviously the rubber blocks keep it from sliding down, but I figured since I was doing video and it takes a little bit longer to do, it would be good to just go ahead and get that trim back in right away, and make sure that it stays nice and tight. But yeah, you can see it turned out pretty clean. Most of this gasket or the seal will be covered where you won't see it ever. Your trim panels cover most on the side. You can probably see I got a little bit of some of it sticking out there on that edge, and this stuff's fairly soft still, and it will be for quite a while. And you can actually just kind of knead it in with your hand to smooth it out so you don't have any lumps, so you can get a nice smooth edge. That way it looks nice and clean. And then of course here on the bottom edge, our back pad will cover up almost to that rubber gasket where you won't see this anyways. But yeah, so I'll get that pad cleaned up. I'll also reinstall some of our vinyl that's come loose. We'll just use some spray adhesive, and that'll clean that all up nicely so it looks nice and clean. But yeah, it was a fairly simple project. I didn't need a whole lot of tools or equipment. A couple Phillips head screwdrivers. I had a short and a long, my multi-tool, and then a 17mm socket and wrench. And then my little paintbrush tool, my little plastic paintbrush to pop the glass loose. I didn't even need a razor or anything like that to remove the old seal. It peeled right out pretty easily. I did use some degreaser to clean these edges out before putting my new rubber or my new seal in, just so I knew I'd have a good seal, some good adhesion there. But yeah, that was pretty much it. It's a pretty simple project. I'd say it took me about two and a half hours, but that's because I was filming and trying to take things apart and see how it all worked before I recorded doing it. If I'd just done the project without filming it, I'd say it probably would have taken me an hour and a half tops. And that would include my trip to the parts store to get the seal. So yeah, it was a pretty simple one. And it's something I think that will really improve the experience of driving this car. A, we won't have water coming in. B, we won't have that rattle. We won't have the fear of that glass getting damaged. So we won't have that buzzing in there. But yeah, it was a worthwhile project. I think it cost me $16 for the seal. So not an expensive one by any means, and definitely improves the car a lot. I'm going to go ahead and clean this glass up, get the last of my fingerprints off, get it nice and clear. It'll help that visibility a little bit, having that nice and cleaned up. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get that pad back in, and then we'll take this sucker out for a spin and see how it does. But be sure to subscribe to the Barn Finds channel for more exclusive content. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if there was something I did wrong or you didn't enjoy it. Leave me some messages in the comments if you have any questions, any concerns about how I did this. Just let me know down there and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah,